All right, I have to fist bump you though.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Boom.
This was just incredibly delightful. I mean, from the trailer it looked very, cute, but it was just so heartwarming as well. How did you tap into this woman? Where did Doris come from? Did you know someone like her, or?
I think she's me. I don't know. She's a lot of things. She's a lot of me. Obviously, she is a lot of me. A piece of me, a big, condensed piece of me. But we spent time. Rebecca, the costume designer, and myself. I think the beginning of finding her was in finding her look, because it's very specific. And so those 3 days that we had, even if I think it was 3 days of just, early morning to late at night dress up of all these old clothes. They're all disgusting too. I smelled like an old sheep,
and that thing on your head.
But it worked, and it was stiff. I couldn't lower my arms half the time because they were crusty underneath. It was like, ew, who was in this outfit? But once I could find the look, then I could put together the interior.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't realize how empowering this movie is. I mean, you kind of break that unspoken rule about an older woman and a younger man, even if you're not quite sure if the romance happens or not. There's this connection. Mm-hmm. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I don't really have any thoughts about that. In my mind, and certainly I guess how I had to play it, it really was a coming of age, of a person of age.
Yes.
And whether you're 13 or you're 69, there's a newness that when you hit a different point in your life, and you either challenge that point and move on into it, or you go back into your sameness, into your cave, and shut the door. And it's the willingness to be new and awkward and unsure and vulnerable. And that's a huge part of being alive, and how you can keep going on in being alive. And John, the Max character, and I, we're kind of both in the same place. The characters are both in the same place, and they connect as human beings. They're lonely, and their exterior, in that he's young and in that I'm old. For moments,
older.
I'm old. It's fine. In moments, it doesn't matter, because what human beings need to do is connect with each other and not feel so isolated and alone. And that's kind of what it's about. And will other things occur? I don't know.
Yeah, well, Max actually said the same thing. And of course, working with such a cutie like Max, it wasn't hard to...
to get into it?
Right?
It wasn't hard to get into it, no. Wasn't hard to get into it.
Yeah, so working with him, I mean, he said you guys just had an amazing experience.
He's just divine. I couldn't have been Doris without him being John. It is his, generosity and his kindness, because he could have been seriously repulsed. He could have been like, ew, an old person, get off me. But he didn't. It was like, come on, bring it on, Missy, come on. It's like, okay.
Well,
I'll do that.
Yeah. I mean, it was more of a. He was surprised, I think, when he realized that you had those feelings. Like, that's how I took it. Was that wasn't like he was repulsed, but he was just like, how do I take that in?
You mean John or Max?
Yeah, John, the character.
Well, I was talking about John being repulsed.
Yeah.
Whether I was talking about Max being repulsed. I think John is repulsed at one point, and I think that's like a turning point.
Yeah.
A huge turning point, because so much of what goes on isn't real, isn't.